Hello everybody, hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to go over the specific scam cases that I've went through and how I filed the dispute to get my money back so that you can kind of like understand the process and how to protect yourself in case you fall victim of buying roses from a dishonest vendor. So hopefully it didn't come back to you like this, but because you will have done your research, like the kind of research that I kind of mentioned in the previous videos. But if you were that unlucky, this is what happened to my story, and hopefully that will help you guys. So I'm not gonna go into specifics in terms of the vendor name and such, but I'm just gonna share the general timeline of what things happened. So I ordered the roses in around August of 2023. The first order was with 5 English roses from the specific vendors. Well, actually, 4 of them are English rose, and the fifth one is not. The fifth one is just Queen Elizabeth. So the other 4 is, as you can imagine, it was the harder type to get. Like it's more like the retarded one. So it's the reason of getting it is because at that time there was some YouTube videos from a specific person, again not gonna name, that kind of like, I wouldn't say they specifically advertised, but they did show the specific vendor, singing praises of that specific vendors, and it seems like there's a lot of positive PR of the specific nursery, and it was a kind of like a newer vendor, like a rising one, and it seems like the vendor has experience with it. So I didn't go into the whole detective mode and do the research because of all the positive feedback that seemed to be online. So I just like did it and pre-order because it would take a long time before it happened. So it first came with that order, and then as time go by, the vendor has more species of roses, and then we order more because the vendor seems a very honest, and keyword seems to be a very honest vendor, that you can adjust your order by adding additional rows, and they will refund the excess shipping to you. And keyword is excessive shipping. There's like a whole refund thing, and it was kind of like not really written in stone unless you take screenshot of the website. So that's like the other thing. You get email confirmation of your order, but the order, it might not say when it's expected to deliver. It did not say how the shipment policy is. You would not have those information as part of your order. You need to protect yourselves to take those screenshots, because when things go south and you need evidence, and the website probably might be down or might be up depending on how lucky you are, you need that as part of your ordering to ensure you protect yourself from it. Well, unless you buy from a really reputable rose vendor that has been existing for a very long test of time, like for example like David Austin, right? They have been around forever. They are the breeder, they're the vendor, kind of that scale. Otherwise, if you're buying from individual nursery, that's the risk you're taking, kind of. So, and again, this whole like adding order and stuff happened multiple times. So I keep getting a new order number, adjustment on shipment, all that information needed to be captured. And when it's about time to delivery, which is around February, they said they sent out shipment with the whole like cool QR code stuff and videos and everything like that. That was around the time of February. So I'm in the hotter zone. I'm in zone 9. So usually February is already kind of like late. Usually it's like even earlier. It's like November-ish. In like, well, maybe not November. I think December is when I get David Austin's roses from them. So December, you should start getting roses in my zone. And like I said, the warmer zone get roses first because it's like a zone thing, and the cooler climate get it later. So another way you can tell if other people are receiving the roses from the specific vendor you order is go to social media, like online, to see if they, and ask around if like, did you get roses from this vendor, because the warmer zone people will know first if anything goes south. And for my case, I'm in the warmer zone, so I didn't really get that much heads up. But basically, the vendors posted online saying, they ship the stuff with like labeling and boxes and stuff, and before that like the whole box design special and stuff like that. That was in February. So remember, I ordered in August, right? So August to February, and like I said, it's already very, very late. It was end of February, so it is very, very late for rose delivery, especially bare roots in my California climate. So we didn't get it. And then in around March, end of March, so they procrastinate and keep saying, there's this issue, that issue, and stuff like that, right? And then eventually, in end of March, they said, they have a crop problem. So specifically for my case, will be like fungus and powdery mildew. Fungus means, which is a bug, and then powdery mildew, which is common, a very common thing you get for a greenhouse environment because it's humid and stuff. And if you don't air it out, it might happen, it might damage your crop. And again, a very experienced vendor, they know how much crop, like the yield they can get out of what they're growing because they have experience, number one, and they know how to handle it. And they wouldn't wait for the last minute to figure out, oh, I can't send the stuff because I'm having a problem. And they're like, oh, I can ship it so until like the next winter, which is like a year, deferring your order for a year for someone that has no track record. And at that point, no one has received their products ever, like including the warmer zone. So again, it gives you the advantage if you are on those social forum on roses talking about specific vendors. You gotta get a feeling what the vendor, like what's your confidence level with the vendor at that point. So at that point, end of March specifically, there's someone actually really doing the detective work and find something sketchy about the vendor. So at that point, people is like, okay, I want to cancel my orders, and then just ask them to refund because literally there's no products. I'm not gonna wait until summertime when you deliver, because it doesn't make sense to deliver, say, in May in California, because the plant would die. You can ship stuff in May, preferably Beirut. You won't do that. So at that point, I was like, okay, cancel my order. This is my total amount combined. Like I would do the math. Like these are all my multiple orders. This is the breakdown. This is how much I'm looking for a refund. And they will make potentially giving more reasons like family trouble, weather disasters happen in their area, car broke down, shipping company go on strike, weather condition, like the plant condition, anything you can think of, like people hospitalized and stuff like that, and asking for a refund. Eventually, imagine I ordered in August, end of March, we were at asking for a refund in April, and then they took a while to answer back saying, oh, they will refund, and they canceled the order and they will initialize the refund. That was about mid-April. So, and then it's like chase and chase and chase and never get a refund. At that point, you basically, your heart sank to the bottom, and you just like, okay, I just want my money back because this is like so ridiculous. And you basically, like for my case, will be, because I don't want to file a dispute unless I have to, not because I'm lazy. It's the fact that it actually hurt the vendor if you file a dispute, because every single dispute they will get like, the financial industry, the financial institution will basically get like clawback of like $5 to $15 per transaction of what they failed, like for as a service fee for doing this dispute for on our behalf, kind of, for like I was saying. So the vendor actually got hurt even more. Not only we would get our money back, we don't care as a customer, but the seller will get not only a zero balance, but they will get a minus balance, for like I was saying. So I basically just give my last sentence of, okay, I haven't got it, and I will open a dispute by this date if I didn't get my money back. Guess what happened? I didn't get my money back. Literally, I did not get my money back, and they're like trying to do alternative payment method, including, for example, PayPal. But to protect yourself, specifically for the case of PayPal, you don't want to do that, because they might look like they pay you in PayPal, and they can they can get it back from the payment they sent you. So if they suggest a refund in a PayPal, that's giving you, like, number one, they shouldn't, why would it matter? They should be able to refund you. It doesn't matter which account it is. It doesn't really sound right that they can do payment in one form and not the other. It already sounds very like sketchy in this first place. And number two, PayPal is particularly weird in the sense that if they might look like they pay you, but then they actually didn't pay you a couple days later. So in that case, that's why you need to know what payment you best protected yourself. For my case, all this shenanigans takes until almost end of April in this case. And to file my dispute with my bank, like a lot of banks, you can just like do it online. But usually when you file online, you just put, okay, this is the transaction date, which you should have because you order and your bank charged you. And like, again, because I placed multiple orders from August to, I think, November, December, or whatever month it is, there were multiple orders. So there's like, you need to take the screenshots of multiple, because usually a transaction has a transaction ID even on the bank side. It has a date, and there's like a transaction date versus like the actual payment go through date or whatever it is. So you want to capture both of those dates, the transaction ID, the total amount, the vendor name it is, and so on and so forth. And you need all those information in multiple screenshots. And you probably want to put it all in like a Word document and PDF it and upload it to the website as part of your dispute, because they can only do one like I think they have a cap of 5 documents each time, so you don't want to like have 15 screenshots or whatever to upload. You basically just want one clear, succinct Word document or PDF, and just like, these are all the screenshots, these are all the transactions, these are all the dates, kind of in the tabular format, for easier for them to process it, to get your money back. So that, because usually they probably temporarily credit you and give you money back, but they're still gonna investigate on the case, which takes a little bit longer. And usually you have about 2 months since the expected delivery date, like I shouldn't say 2 months, it's 2 billing cycles, I should say. Usually you have 2 billing cycles to dispute the transactions, which means for my case, I'm expecting a delivery on February, right? And I do have evidence saying they are delaying, they are communicating their delay. That's why I haven't filed. But on the date they stopped, that's when I'm like disputing, and that's why it took so long. That would kind of help your case a little bit. Like for my case, I'm already too slow. I should have done it as soon as they like, they didn't deliver. You probably want to do it already to protect. If you were doing with a really sketchy vendor, well, hopefully you don't have to. You probably want to do it earlier than waiting, because the longer you wait, the worse it is for a case for you, because you might be outside the window of the dispute claim. And like I said, you only have 2 billing cycles. So for my case, would be like February, that would be March and April. So April is like basically it. Like if I were filing in May, I'm probably not going to get anything back. And certain banks are better. I've heard rumors, and because we were using different banks for every single one of us, I think they said Apple Pay is like difficult. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me. But I recall specifically Citibank was specifically good and fast in terms of the whole process and seamlessly. And I don't have a Citibank. I still don't have a Citibank because I figure out I'm not getting it unless I need to order more roses online. And I basically got like traumatized by my experience. So I didn't get it, but I think out of the whole lot of experience from, I think over, like, as far as we know, it's at least like more than 3-digit to 4-digit customers being impacted in our little vendor case. It just like it just didn't add up and doesn't make sense, and it sounds like from most of us saying Citibank was the fastest in terms of getting the money back for this legit like scam case. I don't know if they blacklist it from a vendor standpoint, like as in not going to go through the transaction moving forward because of so many claims and stuff. We didn't know. We know that vendor still exists, like for as a secondary story. The vendor still is out there. Not only they're still out there doing business, even the whole thing happening. They even create a second company to start selling. That's how scary it is and how non-regulated for this specific example. People have been talking about it and saying they didn't even pay their land, like a rent, for lack of saying. Like they basically not only being a dishonest vendor to scam their customer making purchases, they also didn't like it, the rent part. Well, I don't know if the rent is the correct wording terminology, but it was pretty bad. So for filing the dispute, for my case, I have a 4 pages document, basically a quick summary saying which vendor out, and then specifically said about it's a pre-order, but it's a delivery of that date, and you have an image of that, right? Because you're supposed to know when you're delivering the stuff. And just saying this is this standard industry. It's not like a specific fishy vendor thing, but it's like usually Rose is a pre-order thing, so that they know why you didn't file in, for my case, I pay in August, why I didn't file in October, because otherwise they would decline me right away if I file in April for last year's October stuff. You have to be specific, saying you are expecting a February delivery and you didn't get it, that's why you're filing in April. And like I said, don't wait until April. In theory, you want it earlier. Like, don't be too nice sometimes. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You want to be nice and compassionate, but in some cases, if you're really like obviously being scammed, that's just that line there that you don't want to, you don't want to condone basically, unlawful activities. So again, you want to have all your order information, your transaction information, your date, your reference number on the transaction. You will have a claim ID as part of your dispute. And like I said, I have multiple orders. You actually don't need to dispute multiple times. Like the system might not let you to do it online, but if you call the back of the credit card or whatever, you can actually dispute multiple transactions on one phone call, and that would reduce some confusion. Because for my case, I have multiple claim ID against multiple transaction ID. So the person who's reading is probably having the mind blown because of so many roses and stuff. For my case, I went that far to list how many roses, how much is individual, how much is actually charged on the shipping. Every single one of them has a screenshot, like the shipment amount, the order, transaction, email, everything has it. The refund on the shipment, because then they would start seeing like weird stuff about $2 shipment and stuff. Then you also have an image to explain that part. How many orders is this? Like I said, each of the dates, the posting date versus the transaction date online is different. You want to keep track of how much your refund progress is, because sometimes they refund you immediately on condition that if the investigation didn't turn out the way you filed it, they just take it back. So you want to follow closely on the refund progress as well after you file the dispute. Let's say this whole thing from August, the filing is in April. I think I got the money in end of May or June-ish. So it took a while. Like when I say get the money, I think I got the money in like 3 weeks or something. But then it took even longer, like much longer, to get it locked down. So then I know that okay, this is mine, like absolutely mine. That they cannot get it back. Like this is like closure. This is mine. So that's the story, and that's why I said certain banks are better, because this number one, the system probably support better in terms of how you do the dispute potentially online, so they don't have to talk to a person by waiting like 10 minutes on the on the phone to get to the right person, explaining to them how rose pre-ordering works, which is probably like another thing, because otherwise, like as soon as they say August and oh you're calling for something in August, they just like deny you flat out. So that's the story, and that's my experience. So that's why it's important to choose a good vendor and choose a good credit card to pay for that vendor. Hope you guys enjoyed today's story. Until next time, have a good one, guys. Bye.